Welcome back, everyone, to Rewind. So glad you could join us. And seriously, thanks for sticking with the subscription. Hope the drone delivery of this cassette was smooth.
Yeah, it's amazing to think we're all sharing music this way again. We really appreciate you tuning in.
I'm Tamara.
And I'm John.
And our whole thing, as you know, is digging into old music, like really old music from decades past. We research the stories, the sounds.
And try to make sense of them from here in 2065. Yeah. Especially now, things have shifted so much.
Right. With the whole streaming bubble bursting, it's wild how everything flipped back to analog cassettes, even for the biggest artists.
And with Brazil becoming, well, the absolute center of global culture now, it changes how we look back at everything.
Which brings us to today's episode. That's a special one.
First of all, we want to give a warm analog obrigado to everyone who's subscribed to receive this week's cassette via drone. We see those rooftop deliveries across Recife, across Accra, across even that one outpost in Antarctica.
You legends, honestly, we wouldn't be here in your Walkmans if it weren't for you. And we say Walkman, but shout out to the crank-powered cassette decks, solar tape backpacks, whatever you're rewinding with these days.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cryolapse. If you fear death, and let's be honest, that's a pretty human thing, check out Cryolapse's cryogenics plans. Don't make your loved ones cry. Cryo.
We're looking at an artist named Luma VÉ.
Luma VÉ. Project said it would be launching this year, right? 2065.
Exactly. But her whole story, her concepts, they're deeply connected to way back 2025, the old digital era. And let me tell you, our production team really had to dig deep through the archives for this one. Accessing old digital stuff these days, it's a nightmare.
Oh, I bet. The digital decay, the platform graveyards. It's tough.
But totally worth it, because Luma VÉ's debut album, The Land of Temporary Things, was actually slated for release this year, 2065.
No way, really, this year.
Yep. Designed back then to drop 4 decades later. So it's literally a time capsule, a bridge between how music was consumed then and, well, how things are now.
Wow, that's fascinating. And Luma VÉ is especially interesting because of their very open, almost provocative stance on AI and art, right?
Right. Which stands in such stark contrast to another project we talked about on a previous deep dive. Remember Velvet Sundown?
Oh, yeah. Velvet Sundown. The whole controversy around them, like buying playlist spots, hiding they were AI generated. Like, hold on that.
Exactly. People were furious back then. But Luma VÉ, they declared their fiction right out of the gate, day one.
And that's the crux of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's unpack that core paradox. Luma VÉ, an artist created purely with AI tools.
Yeah, like wasn't born, doesn't breathe, never set foot on a stage.
It sings, provokes, connects with listeners somehow.
It's pretty mind-bending when you stop and think about it. Their whole manifesto asks these big questions like, if the artist doesn't exist, why do you feel something when you hear her voice?
Right. And that kicker line, is this art? It's a fucking problem, for sure.
Yeah, they didn't pull any punches. It wasn't just about the shift in art. It was like proof that you didn't need a physical person for emotional impact.
Mm-hmm. They called Luma VÉ a declared fiction, an emotional experiment. Explicitly said they wanted questions, not chart positions.
Which, you know, that intention alone was huge. It suggests authenticity, especially in that dawning digital age, could be something you claim, not something inherent. And it could still hit home.
Yeah, it shifted the focus to the listener's experience, away from just the creator's biography, sort of.
And it almost makes their fiction feel more honest than some artists who claim to be real, which brings us back to that comparison with Velvet Sundown.
The contrast is stark. Luma VÉ, full transparency. Velvet Sundown. Exploiting streaming mechanics, hiding their nature, buying playlist spots.
A total bait and switch, yeah. And Luma VÉ kind of called that out, didn't they? They argue, look, if these huge global pop stars are basically built by branding teams, ghostwriters, data analysts.
Right, with choreographed media strategies and all that.
Then who's really lying here? It was a direct jab at the whole authenticity machine in music.
A really powerful point. And as you said, not even a totally new problem, was it?
Not at all. Think about Milli Vanilli, way back in the late 80s, early 90s, had to give back a Grammy because they weren't the ones singing.
Wow. Yeah, the Milli Vanilli thing. So Luma VÉ was basically saying, okay, we're fabricated, but we're telling you, unlike some others.
Exactly. A clever way to question who gets to define real in art.
And beyond the AI angle, Luma VÉ had this really specific fictional vision of Brazil's future, written back in the 2020s.
Oh yeah, the origin story. Born in 2043 in this huge megacity Vila Velha.
Supposedly the largest metropolis in the world, part of some unified authoritarian regime run by a single corporation.
Which, I mean, looking around in 2065, it's kind of chilling how close they got on some things, right? Maybe not the single corporate overlord, thankfully.
Yeah, let's hope not quite that.
But Vila Velha's expansion, Brazil becoming this massive cultural center, they absolutely nailed that part. It's wild they saw that cultural shift coming so clearly back then.
And the music itself reflected that vision. Themes of city life, relationships, all set in this neon-lit Brazil that has become the center of the world.
Yeah, let's talk about that sound. It was such a cool hybrid.
Totally. You had that pop global contemporaneo, think Dua Lipa, Billie Eilish, Charlie XCX from that era.
Right, that polished global sound.
Mixed with these really specific Brazilian rhythms from the 2020s, you know, the pisadinha, pisero, that electronic 4/0 sound.
Oh yeah, super popular back then, very danceable. Interesting mix.
But then it's all wrapped up in this very futuristic, very electronic aesthetic. It doesn't just sound retro.
And the lyrics too, often meta-linguistic, like aware of itself, addressing the whole I don't exist thing.
Alongside themes of digital connection, maybe even artificial emotions.
Liquid relationships, like Zygmunt Bauman's ideas.
We'll definitely get to Bauman later. It fits perfectly.
You hear it on the title track, The Land of Temporary Things, or Stranger, mentioning the Pavuna platform. That's a Rio Transit reference, right?
Yeah, deep cut for Rio locals.
Yeah.
And Neonoff mentions Recife. Then there's Kieber.
That's the food from Espirito Santo, connecting back to Vila Velha, her supposed home state. Little conceptual Easter eggs.
Made the AI feel weirdly grounded somehow. And visually, they called it cybertropical aesthetic.
Cybertropical, I like that.
Yeah, mixing futuristic digital stuff with Brazilian vibes, plus elements inspired by like 1920s Brazilian modernism and plastic arts.
So it created this look that was ambiguous. You weren't quite sure what was real, what was simulated.
Exactly. A projection of a futuristic, sensual, electronic, and critical Brasilidad. That essence of Brazilian identity, but looking forward.
What's really key here, I think, is that they position Luma VÉ not just as music, but as like an essay.
Right, an essay on humans and machines, emotion and code, image and truth. Not just a marketing gimmick.
Totally changes the conversation. It's not, is it real? It's, what does it mean?
Precisely. And if you look at it academically, Luma VÉ being purely digital, it's like technical reproducibility taken to the absolute extreme.
Okay, so you're talking Walter Benjamin territory here. The whole aura of the original artwork.
Exactly. Luma VÉ directly challenged that. Does the lack of a physical original, that traditional aura, mean it has no artistic value? The project suggested, well, maybe not. Maybe digital art could still provoke thought, feeling.
So it forced a rethink of what gives art its value in the digital age.
And it also connects to Adorno and Horkheimer, their whole critique of the cultural industry.
Right. The idea that mass culture becomes just a product, losing its artistic soul for profit.
Luma VÉ kind of critiqued that from the inside, didn't it? By being, as they put it, more honest in its fiction than real artists manufactured by branding teams.
Yeah, it was like they were exposing the gears of the machine by being openly artificial, daring you to call them fake.
And drawing on Brazilian modernism, too.
Yeah.
Oswald de Andrade's Anthropophagy.
The Cannibalism Manifesto. Devour foreign influences, make them uniquely Brazilian.
Yeah.
So this whole package, the open fiction, the emotional pull, the critique, it connects to some bigger ideas, doesn't it? Like post-truth.
Absolutely. Luma VÉ is almost a perfect emblem of post-truth concepts. The fact that she's not real, but can still make you feel something genuine. It challenges that whole idea that objective facts are the only thing that matters.
It suggests emotional resonance can be kind of detached from factual origin.
Exactly. It blurs those lines between real and simulated, which feels very relevant to the information landscape even back then, and maybe even more so now.
What you feel becomes the truth, in a way.
Or a truth, anyway. And you mentioned Bauman earlier.
Yeah, liquid modernity. It seems to fit her perfectly.
It really does. Her non-physical, constantly shifting identity mirrors Bauman's ideas about how fluid and uncertain identities and relationships were becoming.
Especially with those lyrics about digital connections and liquid relationships. And the album title, The Land of Temporary Things.
Right. It's almost too perfect. She embodies that feeling of transience, of searching for something solid in a world where everything feels artificial or fleeting. She's that sensitive crack again.
Trying to find authenticity even within the artificiality.
Precisely. Luma VÉ, as this digital anthropophagite, swallowing global trends, spitting out something new in Brazilian, Plus, the embrace of AI fits right in with futurism's love of machines, speed, technology.
Wow. So it was really prescient about the AI debates we're still having now, a masterclass in cultural commentary, using the tech of its time to question that very tech.
Exactly.
And what really hits home, looking back from 2065, is their explicit stance, not commercial.
Yeah, does not aim for monetization, purely an artistic investigation.
Which, given how the whole streaming economy eventually, imploded, that seems incredibly forward-thinking now.
Totally. Choosing to avoid Spotify in 2025. Do you remember Spotify?
Yeah, I was a kid when it all fell apart, but yeah, she deliberately avoided them.
Deliberately. She used her own website, SoundCloud, video platforms. That was a direct shot against the whole algorithmic commercial logic of streaming.
A logic that, well, didn't turn out to be sustainable, did it? Luma VÉ was like a prophet of the streaming apocalypse.
Huh. Maybe so. A prophetic rebel, definitely showing a different path before most people even saw the cliff ahead.
It's fascinating. It really felt like a mirror for independent artists back then, and maybe even now.
Yeah, it wasn't giving easy answers. It was reflecting the big problem. How do you survive? How do you create authentically in a system where everything feels paid for, sponsored, mediated?
And it hinted that maybe indies could use the same tools, storytelling, aesthetics, digital presence, but use them to reclaim power without pretending to be something they weren't.
Lessons that still feel incredibly relevant today in 2065, especially with how distribution and connection have changed again. That fight for an authentic presence, even a deliberately constructed one, it's still here.
Which brings it back to us, to you listening right now. What does all this mean for you?
Yeah, how does this artist, conceived back in 2025, launching now in our time, make you think about the music you listen to, the media you consume?
What do you consider authentic? How does technology shape art and even our own emotions? Big questions.
Luma VÉ really is this fascinating intersection of art, technology, philosophy, and raw human feeling, even if the source isn't, well, human.
She's a mirror, like the sources say, reflecting all the weirdness and wonder and contradictions of culture.
A perfect summary. A mirror, not an answer.
And that's our time today, Rewinders. Thanks again for listening and for supporting Rewind, where we don't just look back, we rewind with meaning.
Next week's tape is already queued up and ready for drone drop. We'll be covering the forgotten AI jazz collectives of Nairobi from the early 2040s.
It's wild stuff. Saxophones trained on dolphin language. Don't miss it.
Also, we heard last week's cassette melted in Singapore because of that solar flare. Don't worry, we're resending those.